Chapter 13, Puppy Fright. Author's note: Hi everyone. Sorry, I was busy with exam and a international science competition. It was so hectic. Anyway, I think I am failing physics. Note to self: next time, pay attention to what the teacher is saying instead of admiring his ass and swooning over his adorable attitude. Ouch. Looks like I won't be passing physics this year. Sigh. Questions answers. Nargis. Sorry Nargis, maybe I should have put up a sign, but there won't be any gay theme in my story for many more chapters. You can still read some of the chapters first. I will warn everyone when the gay part starts to appear. Instigate insanity. I am truly sorry if I made it so hard to read. It was actually supposed all to be in the past tense. My English is actually quite terrible. That's why I write this fic, to do something I love and improve my English. Plus, I don't have a beta. Really sorry. I will try to reduce the number of mistakes. As for the parseltg part, that was on purpose. Hope you can bear with me. Eek. I am not sure whether you will have read this far, but the thing is, all this will be explained in Harry's second year. For now, please just take it as it is. Thank you by the way for being such a detail critic. By the way, the snake name wasn't supposed to be Madara. I actually got the name wrong. Blush fiercely. Sorry everyone. I only realized my mistake after I've written 10 chapters, so I can't do anything. Curious. Thanks for the Nundu tip. It might be helpful next time. I didn't label it / because there is no /. Moon Princess 623. It is lovely to hear from you again. It was supposed to be past tense. My grammar is actually terrible and I don't have a beta. Forgive my stupidity, but I don't understand what is the something you were talking about. The story is in third person. I must have used the wrong words unconsciously. So sorry. Chapter 13, Puppy Fright. I can't believe it, Ron growled. He stomped out of Snape's dungeon with Harry and Hermione following behind him. Majority of the students were muttering and Ron was one of the few that was fuming. I can't believe it. A pop quiz. A pop quiz, Ron muttered. Hermione gave a long-suffering sigh. We are aware of that, Ron. Aware? That no good slimy greasy bat gave a pop quiz. It was bloody hard, Hermione. He threatened to make us fail if we don't pass. That greasy git. Seeing Ron glanced at him, Harry just shrugged in support. It wasn't that hard, Ron, Harry said softly. Ron gave a glare, moaning again wheezily. I am not surprised. You Weasleys have nothing to be grateful for. I am sure moaning is a family trait. Whipping around, the trio came face to face with Draco, Crabbe and Goyle. Ron flushed in anger at Draco, who spoke. Kenneth Malfoy. Draco raised an eyebrow at Ron's words. Apparently moaning isn't your only family trait. At that, Ron pulled out his wand. He was just about to wave it when Professor Snape came out of the dungeon nearby, fighting Weasley. That's against the rules. 10 points from Gryffindor. Now get to your next class. Seeing Professor Snape's give a nasty smirk, Harry quickly pulls Hermione and Ron away. Come on. We will be late. The three of them turn around and walk off, but Harry got the prickly feeling that Professor Snape was glaring daggers at his back. Why are we here again? Asked Ron for the 10th time. Annoyed, Hermione and Harry both pointedly ignored Ron's whining. It was the end of classes, and after that nasty pop quiz, the three of them were at the moment studying in the library, a new tradition Harry and Ron were forced to adopt when Hermione joined them. Ron had protested valiantly at first, but in the end caved in when Harry never offered him any support. Come on Hermione, it is Christmas in a week's time. Can't we have a break? In the end, Hermione snapped her book shut in irritation. Fine, let's go, but don't come crying to me when you fail your exams. At that, Hermione proceeded to stride out of the library, with a meek Harry following in her wake, leaving a stunned Ron behind, who quickly scrambled to follow them. From the library, they started to walk down to the Hogwarts ground for fresh air. Halfway there, a chilly blast of wind blew past them while they were walking down a bare corridor. Shivering, Harry turned around and came face to face with an open window on his left. It was then he gave a yell in delight. Startled, Ron and Hermione turned around and stared in wonder. It was snowing. Bits and specks of fluffy white snow was falling gently down, making their limited view of outside look like a drama with confetti. Suddenly, another breeze blew past them, making the three of them shiver. Instantly, Hermione conjured up 3 little balls of blue flame from her wand. The little balls' flame floated around the three of them, It kept on orbiting them and soon, the temperature around them rise a few degrees. They were just about to leave when they heard quiet sobbing accompanied by a growl. Scared, the three of them stopped and looked around wildly. The noise was coming from a door further down the wall. Cautiously, they crept closer to the door. Suddenly, they heard a yell of pain and a gigantic barking commence accompanied with snarls and fierce growling that was muffled by the door. Terrified, the three of them were just about to run when the door bang opened and Professor Quirrell came stumbling out of the room and fell on the floor. The professor's robe was torn at the arm and he was bleeding profusely. The door, which was bang against the wall, slammed shut behind him with a loud bang. The professor, who was facing away from the trio, tried to stand up before scurrying away clutching his wound. Harry, Hermione and Ron were too shocked to move. All they did was gaped at the professor's retreating back. Just as he disappeared around the corner of the corridor, Harry suddenly heard someone whisper to Tutu. Behind him, with his heart in his mouth, Harry whipped around, but there was no one in the empty corridor. Harry felt like there was something in his head. It disappeared just as fast as it came. At the same time, Madora, who was curled around Harry's hand, suddenly gripped Harry's hand tightly. Knowing better than to ask now, Harry turned back to the front where Ron and Hermione were looking at him. "What's wrong?" Hermione asked. "Nothing," mumbled Harry. "Did you two hear anything?" he asked. "Other than the professor and that loud barking?" "No," said Ron sarcastically. "I wonder what caused the barking?" wondered Hermione, shrugging. "One way to find out," said Ron. Before anyone could stop him, Ron strode forward and pulled open the door. It was funny actually. There was nothing in the room. The floor was just normal stone, and it was quite dark even though there were windows left and right. It just so happened that the light was blocked by furry curtains, a broken bar. Trailing the curtains with his eyes, Ron felt a warmth breath puff onto his head. Looking up, he came face to face with the most menacing three-headed dog. Each of the heads was drooling and there was a slight fire behind the three pair of eyes. Each head was filled with rows of canine sharp teeth, and the only reason Ron still has a head was that it was startled by Ron's abruptness. Ashen. The three of them each let out a scream and a yell respectively before Ron slammed the door in the dog's face. Terrified, they raced down the corridor in horror. They could hear the loud barks echoing down the whole corridor. They didn't stop running till they reached the Gryffindor common room and collapsed on the sofas. "Ronald Weasley, how dare you act without thinking? You could have got us killed, or worse, expelled." "That was the third-floor corridor room that we were forbidden to use," screeched Hermione. "Guess we know now why it was forbidden," panted Harry. Carefully, he rubbed Madara through his sleeve that was squeezing his bicep so tightly it was starting to hurt. "What's that brute doing there anyway? Shouldn't it be outside?" said Ash and Ron. "You didn't see, did you? There was a trapdoor." "It was a guardian," admonished Hermione. Just then, Neville came down from the boys' dormitory. "Hi guys, let's go. It is dinner time." Slowly, they stood up and tried to smoothen their clothes. As Neville, Hermione and Ron climbed out of the portrait hole, Madara spoke. "I felt a presence to Harry. Whatever it wasn't pleasant." "Oh yeah, do that again and I will bite you," a broken bar, added the snake as an afterthought. Harry chuckled, before he climbed out of the portrait hole and joined the rest of the Gryffindors downstairs. Chapter 14, Lonely Christmas. Author's note: Hi everyone, I am still alive and kicking. Sorry it took so long. I have been busy. Oh yeah, so it should be fair to warn you all that it will take 3 weeks before I update again. Need to study for my mid-year exam. If I don't get below 150 in the whole form, my mother is confiscating my laptop and that's bad for all of us. I will try to make it up to all of you during my holidays. Questions and answer. Hi. I am glad you like it. I have not received one review as lovely as yours for a long time. It really made my day. Thanks. D. Albus Posse. I am so really sorry that I made it hard for you to read. I will try to be more careful next time. My English is quite terrible, that is why I started this story to practice. Guess it have not improved much. Thanks for this edu review. Chapter 14, Lonely Christmas. Another week has passed and Christmas is coming. Harry has seen some of the teachers casting spells left and right, making decorations appear out of no way. The students were getting more and more excited and he could often hear them whispering and chattering in delight. On the other hand, Harry was not that happy. With the Christmas break coming up, Ron and Hermione will be going home. The Dursleys will not welcome him and he does not want to see them either. Oh well. He just have to make the best of it. Professor Quirrell had been to class like usual, with a noticeable limp of course. He said he fell down the stairs but the three of them knew better. It was pretty exciting, arguing over what the professor was doing in there. Even so, the conversation had been cut off abruptly when Ron at last had got so annoyed that they were spending more time on a batty old professor than Christmas that he lost his temper and they decided to put off this conversation till after the holidays. Christmas morning, snow was falling, ghosts were caroling but Harry was sleeping. Harry's dorm mates Dean, Neville, Ron and Seamus have all gone home and it was very quiet in the first-year dormitory. With nothing to look eager to, Harry had jumped on the chance to sleep in, a feat he seldom get to do as Ron's snoring was loud enough to wake the dead. It was around mid-morning before Harry was woken up by Madara slithering up and down his bed. Blinking sleepily, Harry stretched before blinking sleepily and sat up. Morning Madara, Merry Christmas. Stopping, Madara gave a tilt his head sideways. Morning Harry, Merry Christmas. Grinning, Harry shook his head. He got off the bed and was about to walk to the bathroom before he stopped in shock. At the foot of his bed, there were, dare he say that word, a small pile of presents. First, he blinked then he looked around. There was no one. The presents were for him. Feeling a surge of joy crept through him, he grabbed the presents and jumped back into bed with them. Looking at the presents, he picked the most colorful one and read the label. Dear Harry, Merry Christmas. I hope you don't mind but Mom sent this to you when she heard you will be spending Christmas alone. My present is different. From Ron. Tearing open the wrapper, Harry felt his jaws dropped. Inside was a lovely emerald green sweater, home knitted from the looks of it. On the front was a huge letter H. There was also a huge box of homemade chocolates and sweets. Harry felt his eyes watered and hugged the sweater gently. No one has ever been this nice to him. He had also received presents from Hermione, Hagrid, Ron and the Dursleys. From Hermione, a book called 1001 Plants of Healing. Hagrid have him some rock cakes which he gladly helped himself to but regretted instantly when he felt his teeth grinded on the cakes. Ron had given him some sweets and Harry was delighted to find more chocolate frogs among the sweet stack. He gave a chuckle though when he saw the Dursley had sent him a hideous old scarf most probably used to belong to Dursley from the size of it and a 50-pence piece. As Harry had been opening his gifts, Madara stood close by watching. He was interested. It has been so long since he saw his friend this happy. Carefully, he observed when Harry opened Mrs. Weasley's present and was startled when he tasted the slight distinctive taste of salt and water in the air. It has never happened before. Once done, Harry looked at Madara with a slight smile. By then, Madara was starting to feel uncomfortable and was just about to inch backwards when Harry grabbed him and gave him a hug. Awkwardly, he curled around Harry and gave a slight squeeze. It was then Harry's belly gave a rumble. Blushing, Harry moved back and looked at Madara with embarrassed eyes. Giving a hiss of amusement, Madara slithered up his master's arm and they both descended to the Great Hall for breakfast. The Great Hall had been decorated with streamers, balloons and there were Christmas trees decorated with ornaments all along the inside of the Great Hall. By dinner time, he still could not understand how the balloons and streamers were able to just suspend in midair, not moving yet swaying like there is a breeze. Of course, he knew it was magic but what magic he wondered. The hall looked even better at night with snow falling in through the roof and the appearance of thousands of candles floating left and right, making the shadows dance slightly against the backdrop. It seems that there was only a handful of students staying back. Instead of the usual house tables, there was only one big round table and Harry couldn't decide which is worse, sitting with the teachers or picking a dish from the table to sample. There was roasted turkey, something which is a must. There was also roasted ham, lamb and cow, golden brown French fries and roasted potatoes, fruit juice, custard, boiled vegetables, fried chicken and calamari rings. Dessert was worse. There was ice cream cake, apple pie, chocolate fudge. Poor Harry, he seldom gets to eat all this and wants to try it all. The hardest part? Every dish was delicious. Even Madara had a hard time, with his keen sense of smell. Madara almost drooled when he tasted the vapors in the air, not to mention he was extremely jealous when Harry failed to feed him in a continuous stream of bits of food. By the time dinner ended, both Harry and Madara were both stuffed. During dinner, crackers have appeared on the round table and Harry had a lovely time pulling them. He got a new chess set from one of them and a pack of sticky balloons from another, arm heavily loaded with Madara's stuffed body dragging his right arm down. Harry walked back to the Gryffindor Tower happily. Back in his room, Harry dumped everything on the bed. Groaning, Harry laid on the bed and stretched sleepily. The sudden crinkly noises however made him jump up. Looking down, he realized he had just laid on top of a piece of parchment. Opening it, Harry's eyes widened. Dear Harry, Merry Christmas. I would like to meet you in my office tomorrow morning. Please walk up to the gargoyle statue on the 4th floor and say candy canes. It will bring you to my office. Do not worry, you did nothing wrong. There is just something that belongs to your parents that I would like to pass to you. Sign, Headmaster Dumbledore. Hard pounding. Harry frowned. The headmaster knew his parents? Pass to him? I wonder what I is? Harry thought. What does it says? Looking up in surprise, Harry saw Madara looking at him expectantly. Harry explained. Madara gave a sigh. I will come with you tomorrow. It was a statement. No arguments. Lying back down, Harry felt lonely. The feelings of happiness had evaporated, leaving behind an empty hole that cannot be filled. When he realized that he was all alone, sensing his master's loneliness, Madara slithered up to Harry and rested his head on Harry's arm, trying to offer some comfort. Harry was grateful, but they both know that Madara cannot replace Harry's parents. Together, they fell into a deep slumber. Unaware to them, Night Alone, Harry's little owl, gave the both of them a sad glance from the window it was standing on. Chapter 15 of Cloaks and Phoenixes. Author's note. Hi everyone. Blush. I am so sorry. Would it help if I say I was in a journalism camp and wasn't here to update? I know I was on holiday, but still, I wanna have fun. Anyway, you won't believe this. I met a guy in my camp. He said he is gay. He is now my first real gay friend. He is also a manipulative bastard and I think he lied and have a GF. Even so, it was nice while it lasted. T_T anyone from Penang that can offer comfort? Wishful thinking. Sigh. Why do I live in a homophobic country? Pout. Oh yeah, I love you all. I remember the last time I updated. The next day, my inbox suddenly flooded. I was leaker, what the heck? And then I realized it was all of you giving me reviews. Squeal. Thank you. You all made me smile like an insane person for a week. QA. Bloody Hunter. Thank you. I am touched. Thank you so much. Debugger 315. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. I am sorry you don't like /fix. For you, I will try my best to make the story more interesting. I will also try to be more obvious with my /warnings next time. D. Pingman. Ooh, someone notice at last. Grin. Unfortunately, I did that on purpose and you have to wait for a long time for your answer to this question. Lone Angel 1992. Special thanks for your advice. And you gave me an idea for this story. Grin. Now, all I have to do is work out how to flirt properly. XD. Robert 19588. Ooh, I love your ideas but it won't fit so fast. Sorry, might have to wait a bit. Drango Wings. SHHHHH. Not telling. Forever Reading aka Meg. Special thanks for advice. Unfortunately, my normal and hyper self tends to be insane, crazy and sadistic. D. You could try Careless by Dinkle. It is hot and so romantic. I felt like crying and wish for days I was in Harry's position. Maybe not the slaves part but still, kind of hot and kinky. Blush. Go read. It is a / though so be careful. JD Midnight. Thanks so much. If only I have your luck with guys, my life would be so much easier. Tongue thanks. Chapter 15. Of Cloaks and Phoenixes. It was 11 o'clock and Professor Dumbledore was not a happy man. His eyes were twinkling and his posture was relaxed. Even so, a storm was brewing behind those twinkling eyes. That Potter boy hasn't arrived. Professor Dumbledore willed himself to stay calm. It won't do to scare the boy. He has to be patient, be gentle to gain Harry's trust. Soon, Harry will be eating out of his hand. He boy was a bit small though. Dumbledore frowned. No matter. It will only be that easier to intimidate that boy. The pitter-patter of feet was thundering down the corridor and then a thunk and a yelp as Harry rounded a corridor too quickly and ended up running into a gargoyle statue placed around the corner. Harry had overslept, Last night's bout of crying had drained him emotionally. Madara gave another hiss of annoyance. It knew it should have let go of Harry's hand this morning when he had the chance while Harry was scrambling around the room washing up. Now, Madara have to suffer a sore head for his lack of foresight. Limping, Harry hobbled along the corridor till he reached the end and stopped in front of some large wooden doors. He knocked gently before pushing open the door and peering in. He was greeted by silence. There was a long round table that took up the whole room with multiple chairs along it. Puzzled, Harry glanced around. Madara, where is the headmaster's office? The note said it is on the 4th floor. There is nothing here. Rolling its eyes, Madara replied the note also said it was behind a statue, and that this is made of wood. Glancing eye surprised at the place where Madara was hidden by his sleeve, Harry paused and turned before heading back to the statue. What's gotten into you? Nothing except I have a headache, a sore nose and a sore head. Madara hissed a little annoyed. Blushing, Harry walked up to the statue and remembering the next part of the note, shouted candy canes. He jerked in surprise when the gargoyle statue suddenly jumped off the podium it was standing on and gave Harry a grin. The podium's front part sunk into the podium and stairs appeared upwards. Behind the space the gargoyle just vacated, there was a spiral staircase made of bronze that has been polished. Golden light filtered down from above giving the stairs a golden shine. Harry looked up in wonder and ascended the stairs slowly. After a few turns, he reached the end of the stairway and reached the stairs. He stopped in front of some golden oak doors and admires the sleek gold knob before knocking tentatively. Come in. Gently pushing the door, Harry stuck his head in and stared. The headmaster's office was filled with portraits from one side to the wall to the opposite end. Each portrait has a moving figure and Harry couldn't help feeling nervous when all of them turned to look at him. Nervously, he tried to flatten his hair unsuccessfully. Below the portraits were shelves of books and the table in front of them, some equipment that was humming away peacefully. A golden mini staircase led from one corner of the office upwards that led to a door that was tightly shut. In the middle of the room sat Professor Dumbledore in his wizarding robes but for some reason, a rich purple in color. "Ah Harry, come in, please take a seat," said Professor Dumbledore when he spotted Harry. Harry shook himself out of his stupor and closed the door gently. He walked across the length of the room and felt his agitation rising when the portraits started to murmur between themselves in small voices. Sitting down, Harry looked at Professor Dumbledore expectantly. The professor gave him a gentle smile. "Well, I hope you had a Merry Christmas, my boy." Seeing Harry nodded, he continued, "The reason I summoned you is to pass you a gift." Seeing Harry's looks of surprise, Professor Dumbledore whipped his wand from under his sleeve and with one graceful sweep, the cupboard beside his desk burst open and a black lump floated out. The black lump floated over to Harry and gently dropped onto his knees. Harry looked down and saw the chair and a broken bar. Eek! With a squeal, Harry jumped up with fright with the disappearance of his legs. Looking downwards in panic, he saw his legs intact. The black lump turns out to be a black shimmering cloak, lying innocently where Harry had dropped it. Wearily, Harry looked at Professor Dumbledore who was wearing a very amused expression. "That is an invisibility cloak, Harry, and as for its uses, you just witness it. It used to belong to your father before his death. I happened to be holding it at the time and I think it is time you received it." Stunned, Harry stared at Professor Dumbledore before approaching the cloak and picking it up. It was soft, like silk and water combined. Harry felt apprehension rising, and his eyes watered slightly. He looked up. "You knew my parents?" Inside, Professor Dumbledore smirked. "Now is the time." "Yes, Harry. Your mother was a wonderful student, brilliant in her studies, especially potions. Your father was quite a handful though. It was after Lily dated him that he calmed down. Nevertheless, both were talented in their own rights and it was tragic to hear about their deaths." Seeing Harry's eyes tear up even more, Professor Dumbledore's heart soared with glee. He did it. The first seeds of trust have been planted. Now, it is only a matter of time. Harry felt weird to hear something nice about his parents after all those years of lies from the Dursleys. He could not help feeling slightly elevated. Those lies were lies after all. No matter what people say, there was always a slight hint of doubt. But now, with the headmaster, the most powerful wizard of Britain, speaking so highly of them, Harry felt relieved. Slightly dabbing his eyes, Harry gave a shy smile. He gave a slightly bow and thanked the professor and gave the cloak a sad glance. He turned around and was about to walk out when he felt Madara suddenly tighten painfully around his arm. Harry gave a small gasp of surprise and pain as the room suddenly flashed golden briefly. Startled, Harry whipped around. Under the staircase was a perch he missed earlier. On it was the most beautiful bird Harry had ever seen. The bird was fiery red with a golden plumage that shined and sparkled even in a dark room, brightening up the room. The tail of the bird was long and soft. As it moves, it seems to sparkle even without the aid of the morning sun. The bird reminded him of a swan he once saw on the television, except the tail was longer and there was 3 feathers sticking out of its head. The bird stared at Harry before opening his beak and letting out a thrill. The sound was melodious, filling Harry's heart with warmth and comfort. That was until Madara practically squeezed his arm even harder, almost crushing his arm. The professor looked at Harry's starstruck face and smiled. That Harry is a phoenix, a creature of pure light and goodness. It helps people in their time of need and one of the world's greatest gifts. Phoenix tears have healing properties and are extremely loyal companions. They are also powerful. My friend here is Fox. Harry winced slightly. Madara was squeezing really tightly now and his arm is starting to feel numb. Unable to bear the pain any longer, Harry quickly excused himself. After bidding the headmaster a good day, Harry left. Professor Dumbledore furrowed his brow in confusion. Harry's wince had not gone unnoticed, but the professor shrugs it off. He has more planning to do if he is to gain Harry's trust. Outside, Harry was stumbling through the corridors, wand in hand and silently cursing at Madara, who is still tightly gripping his hand. Once in the room, only did Madara relax its grip slightly. Harry looked at his arm and winced when he saw that the pattern of Madara's scales had been etched into his skin. Glowing, he hissed out, "What's wrong? You almost took my hand off." Suddenly, Harry realized Madara was trembling. The snake was shaking hard and it was swaying slightly. Alarmed, Harry looked at Madara and spoke more softly. "Madara?" Madara shook its head. "That bird a broken bar." "So scary, a broken bar." "Fear, a broken bar." "So strong." Harry looked confused. "Madara, I don't understand." Carefully, Harry started caressing his friend, hoping to calm him down. Breathing deeply, Madara looked at Harry straight in the eye. "That phoenix, I sense it before it appear. It scares me. I don't know why. I seen it once, out in the grounds. I never thought that thing will live with me." Broken bar. Sighing, Harry looked at Madara. "It is okay. I won't let it hurt you. Trust me. Besides, it lives with the headmaster. Focus won't disturb us." Seeing that his friend had calmed down, Harry looked out their bedroom window and saw the shining sun. "Well, want to try out the new cloak?" Harry grinned.